Have you ever noticed that the older we get, the more the standard advice it seems to work against us rather than for us? For decades, we have been told that if we want to stay strong, mobile, and independent, there is one exercise we simply must do, which is the squat. It has been called the king of all movements, the gold standard for leg strength. And if you look around a gym filled with 20-year-olds, that might look true. But there is a silent reality that very few people talk about, especially when it comes to those of us over 55. You might have noticed it yourself. You try to do the right thing, you force yourself to squat, and instead of feeling stronger, you feel a pinch in your lower back, a grinding in your knees, or a sense of instability that makes you worry about falling. It can be incredibly frustrating to feel like you are failing at the very thing supposed to help you. But I want you to know something important right now. You are not failing. The advice is failing you. The truth is, as our bodies change, the mechanics of how we move change too, and relying on exercises meant for younger bodies can actually increase the risk of the very thing we are trying to avoid. We know from the data that falls are a primary concern for us as we age, with balance issues and lower body weakness being the main culprits. But here is the paradox. If squats are the answer, why do so many active adults still struggle with nagging back pain, collapsing posture, and that unsettling feeling that their legs just aren't as steady as they used to be? The answer lies in your anatomy. Squats are a wonderful exercise, but for many seniors, they no longer effectively train the specific muscles that prevent falls and protect the spine. Those muscles are your glutes. Your glutes are meant to be the powerhouse of your body, the engine that drives you up the stairs, keeps you standing tall, and catches you if you stumble. However, due to modern lifestyles and years of sitting, these muscles often go into a state of dormancy. When you try to squat with dormant glutes, your body cheats, your lower back takes the load, and your knees take the pressure. So today, I want to invite you to try a different approach. We are going to put the heavy squats aside and look at two smarter, safer, and scientifically superior ways to build the strength you actually need, without the joint pain you don't. Before we dive into the specific movements, I think it is important to understand what is actually happening under the hood of your body. We have this beautiful community here of people joining us from the UK, the US, Australia, and Canada, all with the same goal of aging gracefully, so please do feel free to share where you are turning in from, as it is always lovely to see how connected we all are. Now, let's talk about that engine I mentioned, the glutes. This isn't just one muscle, it is a team of 3 players. You have the gluteus maximus, which is the big, powerful muscle responsible for moving your hips forward. Then you have the gluteus medius and minimus, which are smaller but equally critical muscles on the side of your hip. These side muscles are your stabilizers. They are the reason you can stand on one leg to put on a pair of trousers without falling over. When this team is working in harmony, your lower back is supported, your knees track straight, and you walk with a natural confidence. The problem we face is a phenomenon often called gluteal amnesia. It sounds a bit clinical, but it simply means your brain has lost the strong connection to these muscles because of how much we sit. When we sit in the car, at the dining table, or in front of the television, our hips are bent and the glutes are stretched out and inactive. Over time, the brain effectively forgets how to switch them on to full power. This is where the myth of the squat leads us astray. A squat is a compound movement, meaning it uses many muscles at once. If your glutes are asleep, your body will subconsciously use your thigh muscles and your lower back to lift the weight instead. You might finish a set of squats feeling exhausted, but your glutes haven't done the work. You have just reinforced the imbalance and put more mileage on your joints. That is why we're going to focus on isolation and activation. We need to wake these muscles up and strengthen them directly. The first movement I want to introduce to you is a game changer, and we call it the modified step down. Now, please do not let the simplicity of that name deceive you. This is not just casually stepping off a curb. When performed with intention, this is one of the most sophisticated tools we have to rebuild the gluteus maximus. The reason this works better than a squat for many of us is that it targets the muscle in what we call the lengthened position. This is the point where the muscle is stretched, which is ironically where most seniors are weakest. To do this, you will need a sturdy step, perhaps the bottom step of your staircase or a low, stable box. You are going to stand on the step with one foot, letting the other foot hover over the edge. The secret here is in the hips. Instead of just bending your knee to lower yourself, I want you to imagine there is a chair far behind you and you are reaching back with your hips to tap it. You slowly lower your hovering foot toward the floor, keeping all your weight on the standing leg. You want to descend until your heel just barely brushes the ground. Don't rest your weight, just a gentle tap. And then drive back up through the heel of the standing leg. This hinge motion forces your glute to accept the load. A crucial tip for safety is to watch your knee. Imagine your knee has a headlight on it. You want that light shining straight ahead over your toes, not collapsing inward. If you feel wobbly, that is completely normal at first. Please hold onto a wall or railing or a sturdy chair back. We are building stability, not testing your luck. This exercise spares your spine from compression while placing the demand exactly where we want it. Once we have mastered the control of the step down, we move to the second exercise, which is designed to build power. This is the hip thrust, but we are going to use a very specific technique involving a scoop motion. While the step down worked the muscle while it was stretched, the hip thrust works the glute where it is fully contracted and shortest. This gives us a complete training effect, like strengthening a rubber band at both ends of its range. To set this up, you will need a sofa or a sturdy bench that won't slide. You sit on the floor with your upper back leaning against the sofa, knees bent, and feet flat on the floor about hip-width apart. Now, this is where most people get it wrong, so listen closely to this nuance. We are not just arching our backs to the ceiling. That will only hurt your spine. I want you to tuck your chin down toward your chest and look forward. Then, think about your pelvis, your hip bone area. I want you to scoop your pelvis under, almost like you're trying to zip up a tight pair of jeans or pull your belt buckle toward your chin. Keep that scoop locked in as you drive your heels to lift your hips. At the top of the movement, your body should be a straight line from knees to shoulders, and you should feel a very intense squeeze in your glutes. Because your chin is tucked and your ribs are down, your lower back remains neutral and safe. This creates a high-reward, low-risk environment for your body. You are getting maximum muscle stimulation without putting heavy weights on your spine. Now that we have the what, let's talk about the how. How do we fit this into a life that is already full? The good news is that at our stage of life, consistency beats intensity every single time. You do not need to do this every day. In fact, your muscles need time to recover and rebuild. I generally recommend aiming for 2 to 3 sessions per week. That is enough to send a signal to your body that it needs to get stronger, but not so much that you feel overwhelmed. Start with perhaps 3 rounds of each exercise, doing 8 to 12 slow, controlled repetitions. If you can only do 5, that is fine. If you need to hold onto a chair the whole time, that is also fine. The goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is to feel the right muscles working. If you feel a little soreness the next day, take it as a sign of progress. But if you feel sharp pain, that is a sign to pull back and check your form. Of course, exercise is only one side of the coin. We have to fuel the machine if we expect it to perform. As we age, our bodies undergo a natural process where we lose muscle density more easily than we did in our 30s. To counteract this, and to give your body the raw materials it needs to build those glute muscles, we have to prioritize protein. I am not suggesting you need to drink chalky shakes or count every calorie, but do try to include a quality source of protein at every meal. Think of eggs, Greek yogurt, fish like salmon, which is also great for your joints, lean poultry, or plant-based options like tofu and legumes. Think of protein as the bricks your body uses to renovate your house. Without the bricks, the renovation simply cannot happen. And please do not fear carbohydrates. You need energy to move. Wholesome sources like oats, sweet potatoes, and whole grains give you the fuel to get through your workout and your day. And never underestimate the power of water. Hydration is what keeps our joints lubricated and our tissues healthy, so keep a glass nearby throughout the day. Finally, I want to touch on what happens during the other 23 hours of the day. You can do the perfect hip thrusts, but if we then sit motionless for 8 hours, we are fighting an uphill battle. We want to avoid that gluteal amnesia creeping back in. This doesn't mean you have to be constantly exercising, but try to build small habits of movement. If you have been reading or watching television for an hour, stand up. Just standing up and doing a gentle stretch reset your posture. Take the stairs when you can, even if it is just one flight. Go for a short walk after lunch. These little moments of activity accumulate, keeping the connection between your brain and your muscles alive. I want to leave you with a thought on mindset. It is very easy to look at fitness advice and feel like it is a young person's game, or to feel discouraged because we can't do what we used to do. But true strength is not about lifting the heaviest weight in the gym. It is about preserving your quality of life. It is about having the confidence to walk on an even sidewalk, the strength to get up from the floor after playing with your grandchildren, and the freedom to say yes to outings and adventures without worrying about your back giving out. These 2 exercises, the modified step down and the scoop hip thrust, are tools to give you that freedom back. They are safe, they are effective, and they are designed for where you are right now. Remember, you don't need to be perfect to see results. You just need to be consistent. Listen to your body, treat it with kindness, and give it the right stimulus to grow. You might have neglected these muscles for years without realizing it, and that is okay. Today is a new start. Stay curious about what your body can do rather than critical of what it can't. If you found this explanation helpful, or if it gave you a new way to think about your movement, I would truly appreciate if you click the like button. It helps us know that this is the kind of information you need. And please, share this with a friend, a spouse, or a family member who might be struggling with hip or back pain. We are all in this together, building a future where we stay strong, active, and capable. Thank you so much for your time and your trust. Stay strong, and I look forward to speaking with you again very soon.